right now, as I record this video, Cardano is around 53 cents. Ethereum is around $2,100. And as you're watching this video, they are both higher. They've broken out. They've bounced from swing lows. The purpose of this video in doing this is to demonstrate for you how fast the crypto markets change, how fast sentiment changes, and why it is so crucially important to have a macro plan, a macro strategy in place. So in this video, if you're macro minded, I want to show you my exact strategy, my exact plan in moving through these cycles, moving forward. So hit the subscribe, hit the like on the way in. And if you're not in our intelligence system with our risk models and exit planners, please check out the sale that we have going on right now. Our members have a very unique benefit, unique advantage through these cycles. And that's what I'm going to show you in this video. And I'm going to show you my strategy moving forward. So what I want to do is, and this is part two kind of this two-part series showing my strategy, because now we've implemented in our exit planner risk mode. So basically, when we're thinking of our risk models, you know, if we zoom in on like an Ethereum risk model, wouldn't it have been nice May 2021 to see these risk scores at 100, basically saying take profits? Wouldn't it have been nice the bear market low where it's sitting at a risk of 1 or 2 into 2018 saying accumulate Ethereum? That's where we are right now. And so I want to demonstrate how this works and how it overlays with our exit planner. I don't know if you've seen me kind of talk about this video. This is a very big part of my crypto journey. This was last cycle. This was 5 years ago, June 6, 2020. I was speculating about a $3.33 ADA. What I haven't really mentioned to you is I was also in that same video minutes later, basically speculating about $5.99 ADA. And if we go look at an ADA chart, and as you can see, ADA around 52 cents right now. If we go look at the Cardano chart at that moment in June 2020, you know, ADA's in there like 8 to 10 cent range. And I was speculating, yes, about the $3. It looks very good. We got very close to $3.33. But I was also speculating about $5.99. It didn't get there. What I was doing last cycle, kind of at this moment, kind of where we are right now, it was incredibly beneficial. I did way better in this cycle in terms of taking profits than I did back here in that cycle. Not with ADA, by the way. I was not, I don't think, holding ADA back in this cycle, but I just mean in crypto in general. But I could have done so much better if I had the tools that I have this cycle. And so that's what I want to show you in this video. Because yes, the price strategy, the price speculation, the price planning in our exit planners is so incredibly important. We're going to start with that. But once you activate risk mode and pair that up with your price mode strategy, that's where the power of our tools back here come into play. If you're not aware, our risk models, just to give you a very quick summation, is based on risk scores. And there is so much taking place in this risk model, everything from our advanced risk algorithm, emerging asset theory, game theory integration, price, volatility, volume, and we're going to be integrating more in terms of what this model consists of. But there is so much data and quantitative analysis and statistics that is happening on this chart. But what it's doing is it's presenting us with risk scores. So the proprietary metric ranging from 0 to 100, it measures the long-term investment risk of crypto asset. So lower scores very simply indicate less risk, potentially better buying opportunities, while higher scores suggest increased risk. It's incredibly simple. So that's what the scores look like. And in this video, I want to demonstrate our exit planners bringing into play the models. And so we'll look at Ethereum and Cardano. But let's go to Cardano actually and start with Cardano. And let's go over here and let's just say a starting point of 100,000 ADA. Let's add a purchase price of like 25 cents. And let's start here. When you load up a screen, you'll see some demo data. And by the way, actually, before I even start this, I want to mention to you, if you open up Save Strategies, this is a new feature that we just implemented. And you can watch, and this is the demo portfolio I'm going to be using for all these videos. You can watch your unrealized profit and loss. You can see your potential exit profits of all of your strategies back here, very organized in one spot, your total portfolio value, worst performer, best performer. So this is going to be like a very nice visualization tool for your strategies that you're setting up. But going over here to Cardano, let's do this. Here's how I'm going to approach taking profits in this cycle. Let's start with ADA. So And this is very much kind of what I was doing last cycle, right? A lot of data went into this speculation that I was doing, and it got us pretty close. But let's do it again as a starting point, but then let's integrate the risk models. So right now, here we are. I don't know what the price is as you're watching this video. We might have gone down to the 40s or 30s and bounced back up, and I don't know when you're watching this video. I really don't. But what I will say is, what you want to have, what I absolutely need to have if we get a crypto bull market is a plan. So the plan for me starts from price perspective. And for me, it's kind of evaluating and analyzing ranges. $10. I talk about it a lot. For ADA, it's like a $350 billion market cap. That is not even that close to what Ethereum did last cycle. And this cycle, we have institutions and altcoins. We have midnight for Cardano. We have Bitcoin DeFi. We have just trillions being unlocked that is going to flood into cryptos. For something like Cardano that has the system built this cycle, the system was not built last cycle. It is all here. And the security that it's offering the crypto space and offering Bitcoin DeFi, $350 billion is realistic. I want to use that as a range. I think $5 to $10 range is just a very interesting range that a lot of people have an eye on. $3, obvious. That is last cycle's high. People have that area in their mind. For me, the top of the bull market doors, which still, as I do this video, has not been broken yet, $1.25 to $1.30 is in play. But I will say $1.50, I think, is a mental area for people. These areas is a starting point for me for scaling out. So let's go to the exit planner and let's look at how this might be set up. Add target, first target sell. Let's do $1.50, 10%. A lot of you, and you'll see total gains updates, return on investments updates. But a lot of you might be like, what are you talking about? You're selling $1.50? You don't even think it's going to $3? If somebody is over here through the bear market accumulating, they're getting down here 20 cents, 25 cents, 30 cents, and they're accumulating. If they want to sell at $1.50, I encourage that. That's called taking profits, everybody. Those are some nice gains, especially if it's somebody that held here and didn't sell, right? A lot of people regretting that. And they're like, I'm going to sell to $1.50. It's okay. But then we add another target. Let's continue the story if we just plot it out here on the ADA charts, right? So $1.50, and then we're talking about $2, $3. Let's say before it even gets to the $3 all-time high, let's sell another 10%. And then it's breaking all-time high. Let's sell at $3.80, 10%. And then let's do another sell. We're cruising. Liquidity is entering the crypto space. Capital's entering another 10% at $5. Now we're in that $5 to $10 range. So it's kind of like, let's kind of up and wait until you see how the risk mode plays into what we're doing here. But let's up the sell price or the portfolio percentage. If we're at like $5.75, you might be like, I'm going to sell 20%, right? So now you have basically 924% gains, 231,000 in gains, or 924% return on investment, 40,000 ADA left over. That's 40% of the portfolio. And you're like, I'm going to sell at $7. Let's just do $7, right? 10%. Okay. And then you're going to sell at $9. No, let's do $8.50. Okay. 10%. You have 20% left over, $381,000 gains. What's going to happen, and this is what happens for me, as you're creating a plan, you might sleep on it and change your mind. You might just look at it right now and you might be like, you know what? Like, I'm looking at other data. I'm looking at the Fed pivot. I'm looking at interest rates coming down. I'm looking at money printers coming on. I'm looking at the Fed balance sheet going from contraction, quantitative tightening, to expansion, quantitative easing. ADA is going to surpass $1.50. I want to get back that 10%. I'm not selling at $1.50, and I'm actually going to edit my first sell at $2.80 now, and I'm going to put that 10% there, right? So you updated it, and your gains are now at 394,000. You're going to notice that happens, okay? And the same is true when you go to something like Ethereum. Say you have 100 Ethereum at $1,200, and here's the kind of demo data already put in, and let's roll with that, right? There's the demo data, right? You might evaluate that and be like, I think Ethereum's going to break 5,500. I think it's going to 10,000, and you might want to go over here and put $10,000, and you might want to, put a 10% sell there, right? And then maybe you think it's going to far surpass 24. You get rid of that, and you're actually going to edit the $10,000 sell to 20%. And here we are. Now watch this. This is it, everybody. This is where this separates my approach this cycle from last cycle and what I was doing back here in June 2020. Go to the exit planner. And by the way, I'm going to save and enable. So let's do ADA price strategy. Okay. So there it is. I'm going to save that, and it's saved. I'm going to click risk mode. So let's activate risk mode. So let's go here. Let's kind of just delete what's there, and let's start. You'll notice you can click and you can go to risk mode on this chart, and you can go look at like last cycle data in the risk chart, the risk model for ADA 2 cycles ago. The one thing right off the bat I noticed is this swing high into the 60s, both times last cycle, right? There's a 59, and then it's entering the 60s right there. Both times, that was a very key area, hitting the 60s. I want to add that. And you might even want to just be like, I don't even want to put that in my price planner. I want to go to my risk models page and, open up something like Cardano, and you can add the target and manage your risk alerts there. So I want to add a level when Cardano hits 60, I want to be alerted. And we're going to hopefully be activating text message soon. Be awesome. And you just save that there. So, but going back to the exit planner, we can put it in there too. But let's actually, for the exit planner, let's put the 70s, right? Maybe that's where the selling fingers want to get warmed up, at the 70s. And then we can save that, and we can kind of just add targets along the way to the upside. 80. Let's do 85. Let's do 90. Okay. And if you go and you look at last cycle, by the way, that swing high was in the 80s. 2 cycles ago, we were 94. Notice how ADA never hit 100. And that's okay. We might not hit 100 this cycle, but we have all of this data that suggests where were good times to take profits. I think 80s and 90s are very good times to be on the lookout for taking strong profits, I should say. So you have your alerts set up. You can save and enable notifications. So let's say ADA risk alerts, or whatever you want to do, risk strategy. Let's save it. So you'll get alerted when ADA hits those areas, right? And so there they are. There are the areas. You can view them on the risk level chart, and you can visualize in terms of previous cycles. Man, if you're looking back at last cycle, wouldn't this been nice? Exiting slowly at each level as you're being alerted. Boom. You might have missed the top, right? Exactly. But actually, you would have been waiting for a 90 risk score. That did not happen, but that's okay because you were scaling out. The risk mode was alerting you, risk is getting high. And then 2 cycles ago, check that out, that swing high. Now, what happens if you go back to price mode? Okay, let's go to our strategies and let's get the strategy that we just built. So ADA price strategy. What happens when you're sitting here and we're at like $3.80? Well, let's say we're at $3.80. You have $5 sell, $5.75, $7, $8.50. You have all this here. You're just bullish on ADA this cycle. What happens if, because that is speculation, you integrate risk mode? What happens if you're getting an alert at 85, 87 on the risk model and you're only at 380? You're going to go in here, at least I am. I don't know about you, and this is exactly a nice example of my strategy. You're going to go in here and you're going to be like, man, I had a 10% sell. I'm getting rid of that, $7, $8.50 sell. And I'm reallocating here. I'm going like a 35% sell right here at 380 because we're in the 80s in risk. And the risk mode is going to genuinely be that roadmap that helps you put speculation and emotion aside. And then you're really just strictly focused on the data of it. Because when we start operating in these environments, you don't want to be making emotional decisions. And the same is true if we go to something like Ethereum. It's exactly the same. We can even just look at this data that's here. 60, 70, 80 is on there. And you can look at and see how that plays out in previous cycles. Quite nice. You didn't get the exact top, right? But let's go back and let's put, if we had a 90 alert, we want to be alert. We're already over allocated. So we kind of need to go adjust something. So let's just put this one down to 10%. And let's say we had a 90 alert in there, right? And you can see what this looks like contextually with previous cycles. Very nice exit area, 90 for Ethereum. And so even as I'm looking at that right now, by the way, everybody, if you look at the risk heat map for Ethereum, look how cooled off it is. It's like a 30. We've not seen a bull market yet for altcoins as I'm doing this video. And so if we're looking at that though, what happens if you're getting risk alerts in the 80s or 90s, similar to the previous swing highs of last cycle, and on price mode, you're sitting at like, I don't know, $5,400 and you're getting a 90 on the risk mode. That's going to be something. And I'm not saying that's what it's going to be, but you get my point. You might want to reallocate quickly in terms of your exit plan. You might want to re-strategize in real time. The risk mode, the risk models are incredibly actionable. They are actionable real-time insights that you get as the markets are moving and cruising, right? So you, once again, look at risk heat map. Imagine being back here and just having access to this increasing risk score. We're at 95. You're going to be in that moment, probably, at least I am, and I'm going to be like, I am taking profits. I'm taking more profits than I thought I was going to be, right? And that's just, this is just visualized on an Ethereum chart, but the same is true on something like a Cardano risk model. So now this data and these tools are accessible. And I say it's a very unique advantage for our members because I just genuinely think it is. I'm so grateful for the team building these tools and the data that is being poured in here because it's going to help me make even better decisions than I was making speculatively in this video last cycle. And so that's why I'm very excited about this. But again, here we are. Right now, we're in a very high fear environment. And I wanted to record this just as an example, just to really paint the picture. It's so important to not get wrapped up in these moves, whether it's a swing high overbought move or a swing low oversold move. It's just zooming out and it's having a macro plan, everybody. That's what's important. So if you're not in our intelligence system, I would just enjoy and be grateful for you to become a member. I'm absolutely so excited about building this new company. I've waited years to do this. Many of you know that. But I really think the tools will be very valuable for you, not just with exit strategies, by the way, but even if we're about to capitulate as I'm doing this video, accumulation strategies for these cryptos. So get in the system, check it out. I appreciate all of you watching. Hit the subscribe, hit the like. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.